I'm really excited to be working with PBC and Al Heyman. Look, we have a lot of great matchups to be made as the US top promoters, so I'm looking to keep the fights here in the US. In the meantime, Eddie Hearn is begging the media for this Boots and Virgil Ortiz fight.
I've got to prove that I'm the best. I believe I'm the best. I believe I'm the greatest boxing promoter that's ever lived. And it might be deluded, but my track record suggests I might be right. Okay? But I need heavy artillery up against me. I don't need some geezer with a fucking water pistol. I want the big fucking tanks coming at me. And that's what's coming.
You wouldn't believe the level of disrespect that just came out of the Golden Boy headquarters. Just when we thought the negotiations for the biggest fight in the welterweight division were heating up, Oscar De La Hoya didn't just pour cold water on them. He froze the entire conversation with a brutal reality check. The narrative has shifted completely from when will the fight happen to a full-blown exposed rivalry between two of the most powerful promoters in the sport. Oscar isn't just saying no. He's publicly dismantling Eddie Hearn's entire strategy, painting the Matchroom boss as desperate, amateurish, and frankly, completely out of options.
Jaron Ennis against Virgil Ortiz. We've seen a lot of stuff, mainly from Rick Meridian, recently about that fight. What's the latest? What's the update?
I mean, very mixed signals, if I'm honest. You know, you see Rick Meridian posting, no chance of this fight, we want this, we want that. And then we hear from Golden Boy, who we enjoy working with and we trust that, you know, we're making progress and we'll get there and stuff like that. So I don't know is the answer. I mean, we were ready to go after Lima. We're ready to go now, but we'll also make a move for Boots soon. You know, I mean, DAZN have given us our full support. DAZN want the fight desperately, and they've told, and that's why we signed. You know, because DAZN told us, we'll give you the fight in October, but you have to sign to fight Ortiz. We did that. Virgil didn't, but they still gave him a fight, and now I think they're putting pressure on, like they'd be putting pressure on us. And you know, I know Oscar wants to make the best fights, and I just don't see a better fight in boxing than in American boxing than Boots against Ortiz. So I've got everything crossed, but there will come a point in the next couple of weeks where we'll have to make a move.
What makes this situation so shocking is the sheer arrogance of the power move Oscar just pulled. He claims Eddie Hearn is running around begging the media to force the Jaron Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz fight because he has nowhere else to go. While Hearn is trying to build public pressure to make the fight happen, Oscar is sitting back, laughing, and calling it stupid promoting. He believes Hearn has made a rookie mistake by pigeonholing his fighter into a single opponent, destroying all his leverage in the process. It's a classic case of a promoter trying to look like the hero, only to get checkmated by the guy holding all the cards.
You said some things up there that I think that some of the fans may get troubled by, because it's like, this fight is right here waiting to happen. Yeah. Let's not talk about money. But money could become an issue here, right?
No, it actually can. I mean, look, this can be a great negotiation. Obviously, look, when I say it has to be favorable to Virgil, that's the obvious case. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at what he did. Look at who he is. You know, Virgil Ortiz is the man. Having this fight in Las Vegas can be huge, but Virgil Ortiz has to be the favorite here when it comes to negotiations. And, you know, as long as they're favorable, we'll make the fight happen. There's no problem with that. And I think everybody wants to see the fight, so the money's not going to be an issue because there will be enough money in the pot.
Yeah. Is that gonna be a heated debate by Eddie Hearn? Do you think he's gonna say my guy's the guy? I mean, how can he say that?
He better not. I mean, that's there's no question that I have the man. There's no question that Virgil Ortiz is the man. So I feel that these negotiations will be negotiations, just like any other fight, and it'll go back and forth. But at the end of the day, Virgil Ortiz is the man.
The financial terms Oscar just threw onto the table are nothing short of insulting, and he knows it. He's not offering a 50-50 split for two undefeated titans in their prime. No, he's demanding a 60-40 split in favor of Virgil Ortiz, with an extra 5% going to the winner. Think about the disrespect there. Boots Ennis is the IBF champion, widely considered the boogeyman of the division, yet Oscar is treating him like the B-side, the challenger, the guy who needs the favor. By publicly stating he won't move off those numbers, Oscar is essentially daring Hearn to walk away. It's a take-it-or-leave-it offer designed to either break the bank for Golden Boy or give them the perfect excuse to move on to other targets without looking like they ducked the smoke.
Look, we have a lot of great matchups to be made as the US top promoters, so I'm looking to keep the fights here in the US. In the meantime, Eddie Hearn is begging the media for this Boots and Virgil Ortiz fight. It's so stupid as a promoter to pigeonhole your fighter into one opponent. You lose your negotiating power, which ends up being a lot of lost money for your fighter. Also, every time a manager tries to be a hero and negotiate behind the promoter's back, they lose money for the fighter. And at the same time, violate the Muhammad Ali Act. And you know what? I'm gonna start sending legal letters enforcing this because I'm fucking tired of it. Some managers are just full of shit and I will be exposing them, trust me.
But the money is just the surface level of this feud. The real controversy lies in the legal threats Oscar is suddenly throwing around. He's invoked the Muhammad Ali Act, a federal law designed to protect fighters, but he's using it as a weapon against managers who he claims are operating in the shadows. Oscar is tired of managers trying to cut side deals or negotiate behind the promoter's back to look like heroes. He explicitly threatened to start sending legal letters to enforce his rights, exposing what he calls shady business behind the scenes. When a promoter starts threatening to sue managers for talking, you know the conversations behind closed doors have turned toxic. He's warning everyone in the industry, come through the front door or get hit with a lawsuit. This confidence comes from a very specific place: options. Oscar wants the world to know that Virgil Ortiz Jr. does not need Boots Ennis to make a fortune. He dropped two massive names that could easily rival, if not eclipse, the Boots fight in terms of revenue. We're talking about a potential showdown with Errol Spence Jr. at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium or a mega fight with Sebastian Fundora in Las Vegas. These aren't just fights, these are events.
Errol Spence was in the arena, in the building. I don't know if you saw Errol Spence.
Oh, I did see him.
You did see him.
Interesting.
We've talked about this for 5 years. We talked about it at the Arlington press conference, filling up Jerry World with him and Virgil.
Imagine that. Virgil is in such a good place right now. If we don't get favorable negotiations, then we can always go to Errol Spence, or we can go to Fundora. So there's a lot of options for Virgil. I know the world wants to watch Boots Ennis versus Virgil, but let's get one thing straight here. Virgil is the man.
By floating these names, Oscar is sending a clear message to Team Boots. We have stadium fights lined up with legends and unified champs. You have us. Who really needs who in this scenario?
When Boots Ennis knocks somebody out in the first round, it's against a top 30 guy. When Virgil Ortiz knocks somebody out in the second round, it's against a top 5 in the world guy. That's the discrepancy there. It's like it's night and day. It's boys and men. It's just a whole different ball game. Boots, be careful, brother.
All right, thank you, guys.
It's also impossible to ignore the timing of this outburst. Oscar is riding high after finalizing the Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios fight, a deal he struck with PBC and Al Heyman. This is a subtle but powerful flex. For years, the Cold War in boxing made cross-promotion impossible, but here is Oscar, actively making deals with the biggest players in the US, securing top venues and keeping the biggest money fights on American soil. He's contrasting his success with Hearn's supposed desperation. While Hearn is trying to import his fighter into the US market and begging for a dance partner, Oscar is already shaking hands with the top brass at PBC. He's positioning himself as the gatekeeper of US boxing, and right now, he's not letting Eddie Hearn in without paying a heavy toll.
People were optimistic that a deal would get done, being that they're both under the zone and, that the fight was on the table before. Now, people are pessimistic. They don't think that they're going to get it next. Does this fight happen next, Reg?
No. Oscar wants to move on. I don't think it's Virgil. I think Virgil wants to fight. Oscar don't want to fight. Because why would the fight be hard to make? I knew that the fight wasn't going to happen once Boots stepped in the ring and Oscar said, this is going to be a hard fight to make. Why would it be a hard fight to make? You right there and Eddie is right there. What's so hard about making a fight? I don't understand. So, again, I think Virgil wants to fight. I don't think Oscar wants to fight. I think Virgil will fight whoever you put in front of him. But Oscar don't want to fight. That's his cash cow. He don't want to get his cash cow beat.
Do you think that... All right, so you got Ryan Garcia. You got William Zepeda. Like, you've put those guys in danger before. Why is Virgil Ortiz different?
Because that's his last one. That's the last cash cow. That's it.
So do you think he stalls out for this fight to get bigger, or do you think we never get it?
I don't think we get it. I don't think we get it.
Damn,
Why not make it happen now? The people want to see the fight now. Nobody wants to see it later. The people want to see the fight now. He just come off a good win stopping Erickson Lubin, which I don't think nobody thought different about the fight. But
no, Reg, that was kind of like a 50-50 joint or 60-40. Yeah.
No, hell no.
The pigeonhole comment is perhaps the most damaging part of Oscar's rant. In the boxing business, leverage is everything. If the world knows you only want one fight, the price of that fight goes down because you have no backup plan. Oscar is accusing Hearn of malpractice, saying that by focusing so heavily on Virgil, Hearn has cost his own fighter money. It's a savage critique. He's implying that Boots Ennis is being mismanaged, left on the shelf waiting for a phone call that might never come, all because his promoter doesn't know how to diversify his options. It sows doubt not just in the public, but potentially in the mind of the fighter himself.
What about Oscar De La Hoya's video yesterday on Boots and Virgil?
Look, I'm also not gonna go firing back at Oscar because I want to make the fight. If I start coming out going, Oscar, like doing this, everyone's gonna get pissed off. I've also been there before. Do you know what I mean? Oscar, Golden Boy and those guys, they made us a written offer for Boots against Ortiz. 55% for Ortiz and 45% for Jaron Ennis. I went back to Golden Boy, this is, I don't know, 4 months ago, whatever it was. And I said, I don't think that's fair. Ortiz isn't a world champion. Jaron Ennis is a world champion and unified, but he's moving up, so he no longer has a belt. He sells bucket loads of tickets in Philly. Ortiz is really popular in Texas. I think it's 50-50. We sat in a room with DAZN, me, Oscar, Eric Gomez, Pete, and Jared, right, from DAZN. We all agreed on the deal. And I'll say it because obviously Oscar's, 50-50 and 5% for the winner.
So where does this leave us? We have a clear standoff. On one side, you have the IBF champion Boots Ennis, desperate to prove he's the best in the world. On the other hand, you have Virgil Ortiz and Oscar De La Hoya, standing firm on a 60-40 offer that screams, "We are the A side." Oscar has drawn a line in the sand. He's willing to make the fight, but only if Eddie Hearn bends the knee and accepts that he is the B side in this equation. It's a high-stakes game of poker, and Oscar just shoved all his chips in, confident that Hearn doesn't have the hand to call his bluff.
Look, Virgil can fight 2 or 3 different guys in mega fights. He's got options. Imagine him with Errol Spence at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, or Sebastian Fundora in a mega fight in Vegas. Boots is part of the plan, but it doesn't have to be next. But Eddie, since you're so desperate to make this fight, then let's do this. 60-40 for Virgil and 5% to the winner. Because I'm generous and I'm not moving off those numbers. You're the one who's begging for this fight. So let's go.
This isn't just about one fight anymore. It's about dominance in the promotional landscape. Oscar is effectively telling the world that the road to superstardom in the welterweight division runs through Golden Boy, and the toll is higher than anyone expected. Whether this is a masterclass in negotiation or a blatant attempt to price himself out of a dangerous fight remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the begging is over, and the real war has just begun. Eddie Hearn now has a choice: swallow his pride and take the short end of the stick, or walk away and leave the fans wondering, what if? Oscar seems perfectly fine with either outcome.
Jaron Ennis signed the contract and Virgil Ortiz didn't sign the contract. Okay? Now, if they don't want to do that deal anymore and they want to renege on their word, that's fine. I'm not going to moan about it, but I have to speak to my client because that's very different to what was agreed in the room. I really don't feel like this is the most obvious 50-50 fight that can be, but I'm very happy to look at, and I'm not going to come out and go, winner takes all. We'd do that. But anything can happen in boxing, and you've got to protect the fighter. But I'm happy to have that overlay of a bigger percentage for the winner. So if you truly believe you're going to win the fight, you will get by far the lion's share. And I'm not going to come out and tell you what it is, and I'm not going to.
Would you go as far as 60-40 to the winner?
I'm going to go back to Oscar De La Hoya, who at the moment, touch wood, everything's friendly. I believe Oscar De La Hoya wants to make the best fights. And when he says, Eddie, you're desperate, you're showing your hand, I am desperate. I'm desperate to make the best fights in boxing for DAZN. And for me, this fight is the best fight in American boxing.
Where does Rick Meridian's position in this? Because there's been a lot of...
No, we don't have any conversations with Rick Meridian. We only deal with Golden Boy on this fight. We're not interested in talking to Ortiz's manager. I think Oscar was talking about something else, but we just want to deal with Oscar De La Hoya and Eric Gomez, and we want to do it in a friendly and cordial fashion. And I will be going back to them this week with my ideas to try and make the fight. I have to speak to my client because we agreed, and everybody in that room knows what was agreed. But if that's not on the table anymore, we've got to revisit it. So hopefully we can get the fight made.
But what are your thoughts on this promoter drama? Do you think fans are missing out on one of the best fights of the year because Oscar De La Hoya refuses to budge? Is Vergil Ortiz indeed the A-side in this fight? Let me know in the comments. So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.